Hey guys, a couple of quick notes about NPCs before we go to the boss. There's a very important NPC in that cave down there straight ahead. You've got to make one jump to make it, but otherwise I'm not going to give you any hints on how to do that. I will meet you when I get down to him. Here we go, we found Kale. When you talk to him, you want to make sure that you get the item that he gives you and then exhaust his dialogue afterwards, or else he will give you the item but not teleport after you beat the boss. There's an ambush waiting for you at this hole in the wall, but there's an important item down here that I'm going to be displaying. Alright, welcome to your first trap chest. Open it and then retreat. With the arrow that's moved slightly off-center, they will all miss you. If it's poison gas or any of the other kinds, you just want to get as far away as quickly as possible. Not bad. With this door over here, there is, as far as I know, no way to open it except doing this. You may hear the enemies moving over there now. Oh, excellent, that was quick. Sometimes they take a while to get over here. I tried to backstep. The other one see me yet? I don't think so. Should be someone here. And there's the backstab. Excellent. So I'll leave this for you, and then I'll show you something else in this room. This is a Pharaoh's contraption. If you pick the Explorer class, you should have a Pharaoh's Lockstone already. What it does is lights up this area and allows you to break this wall, leading to a couple of very nice chests, one of which, if I'm correct, contains the Chlorancy ring. Let's see which one. No, we don't really need the spell quartz ring. This boosts your stamina and gives you this really gaudy green effect that everyone can see. It just adds to your stamina recovery. It's important to have it. Or at least I consider it useful. When you get higher and you've invested more in endurance, it becomes a little less important, but at this low level, it's definitely a useful boost. Small note, you can use these ballistae. There's a whole bunch of explosive barrels over there, and if you use it a couple of times, usually you'll get lucky with a shot and explode them. Very useful. Over here, there are other NPCs for the area. Mild-mannered Pate. Exhaust his dialogue, go through the gauntlet here, and then you'll loop around and return to him, and I'll show you once I've finished that. Here we go, we just got the white signed soapstone.
It allows undead to... with luck?
Yes. They'll explain it to you. We already got the small white signed soapstone right here. That is more of a temporary drop. It's good if you just want to help someone in an area that doesn't include the boss. It runs out pretty quick, and then you can use it to get your humanity back if you don't want to waste an effigy. Usually you want to use the larger soapstone, which draws a much more prominent symbol on the ground. This allows you to stay, I believe, for 10 minutes, and of course if you get into a boss encounter with your ally, you will stay for that as well. Co-op is a lot of fun and a great way to get souls. It's worth noting that the Pursuer boss that we fought last time up there, when he dies at that arena, he will give all your co-op partners full souls instead of half souls, which is a nice way to get levels early on. I don't think I'm going to take advantage of it, although my build is getting to the point where I can do quite a bit of damage to him already, and I've been pondering it. I think I'll avoid it just so that I don't overlevel too quickly. You may notice I have a different shield. This is the large leather shield that has 90% damage reduction, which is about the best we can get, and for the weight it is excellent if you're going to be shielding, which I'm going to recommend for this build because sometimes it's hard to roll out of the way of those attacks. I have to be completely honest with you guys, so I've played so many shield-free builds lately that it's hard for me to even remember to use the shield, especially when it's not 100% block. It can be kind of counterintuitive. Learning to dodge as much as possible is definitely useful, especially with the high adaptability that this build is going to have. Anyway, I will meet you guys at the boss. It's worth noting before we get into this fight, if you chose to play as Deprived, you probably got some new armor drops from the enemies, especially if you went and you got the Traveling Merchant hat like I suggested. As the Explorer, none of this really seems to be any better, and I don't think you'd get anything better as the Knight either. The old Ironclad leggings have stronger physical defense, but less resistance, and they weigh almost, well, more than twice, almost 3 times as much. So I'm going to stick to this. If you exhausted Pate's dialogue, he will be here as a summon. There also appears to be this other NPC summon, who actually I really like. His name is Sellsword Lewid. He uses the Ring of the Evil Eye. I don't know if he uses it at this point, but he'll have a really cool glowing eye effect from that if you summon him. I'm tempted to grab him. I'm going to grab Pate because to continue his storyline, you need to do this fight with him. Otherwise, I'd recommend just doing the boss by yourself because he's not very tough. But here we go. Come on, Pate. This is the last giant. Stay behind him. He does really strong sweeping attacks. When he does that, just swap to the other leg and hit that a couple times. Make sure you're not great. As you can see, this club does decent damage to him. Pate's not bad either. The extra stamina from the Chlorine ring definitely helps. Not a tough fight. At about half health, he rips his arm off as he increases his range, but if you can manage to stay behind him and avoid the legs, I got trapped in the train, then he's not a hard fight. Definitely not a pro. Fight by any stretch. This is your first regular boss fight, especially if you avoided the Pursuer. You get his soul, and you get a key. Pate disappears, and the boss is over. That key opens up a couple of areas. I will point out the 2 most important ones right now. This is the first door. It's in the same room as that giant sword. There's an ambush on it, which you've probably already encountered. This leads to the Pursuer fight. If you either miss the Pursuer or you fail, this is where he will retreat to. And you can fight him at the top of these stairs. This is the second area where you could have fought the Pursuer. Obviously he's not here because you have already killed him. If you can manage to parry one of his swings while he's in front of this machine, he will stay stunned long enough for you to perform one of these, which does a huge amount of his health. Be warned though, he can't break these if he attacks them. I believe you can break them if you attack them as well. And definitely a fight if you're having trouble with, I recommend using an Fiji and getting some summons in. By this point, you should be able to get someone who's decent enough to take that guy on. If you go to that nest and you interact with it, it will take you to a new area with a bonfire. I recommend doing that and then using the bonfire to return to Majula, because I'm going to call that the 3rd area, perhaps the 4th that we take on. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll figure out the plot on that in a moment. But drop down here for a very important item. This is the Dringlaic armor set and shield. Oh, that guy's probably going to try to loop around and come to us. Anyway, we should have plenty of time. Let's point at him. Alright, so that equipment, very strong, very heavy equipment. You're going to be hard-pressed to find something with better physical resistances than this early on. The shield, also very heavy, but not impossible for us to use. It pushes us a little bit above 50, but as you can see, it has 100% block. It's one of the... oh dear, we don't have the stats. You need 16 strength as well. We can get that. We're at 15 right now. So that's very useful for having an 100% block shield, which is going to be important for this build. I will meet you guys again at right down the ladder from the bonfire, and the next room is this door, which we use the soldier's key on. This leads to the third optional area. Be warned, there's an NPC invader down there, so you probably don't want to have too many souls on you when you attempt it. He can be kind of brutal, but I won't spoil that fight for you. It's worth noting, by the way, that there is one other spot, very small one, very close by, that we can check out. Oh, I love this globe. I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is a small area. It leads to a ring that sounds incredibly useful, but in my opinion is not. We get the Ring of Restoration. This ring will gradually restore HP. It can be useful, but it has very low durability, and the HP regen is not high enough for me to really toot about it. This gentleman's just guarding the door. He will ignore you if you don't feel like dealing with him. I think I'll take him on, though. The Grand Lance is here. The main reason I pointed out this area was for this lance, which has very fun stats. Where are you at? Yeah, there it is, Grand Lance. Expecting it to have a bigger icon. As you can see, very high stat requirements for early level. It's more of a strength weapon. I believe the strength scaling goes up as you use it. Very limited moveset. Most of the attacks are straightforward with it, which it can be good for hallway fights or taking on enemies one at a time. It's not very good for fighting groups, but I've done a run with it and I really enjoy it. Lance builds can be a lot of fun, especially because they can do a lot of damage to a boss. You can get multiple hits on them with it. Over on the chest here, we have disarms. Let's take on this guy. He shouldn't be too much. Maybe I'll demonstrate a little bit of shielding. There we go, see? Try to get around him, get a backstab. With enemies like this, usually when they're in the middle of an attack, you want to get behind one of their legs, and that's how you know where they're moving. The hitbox can be a little weird when they're moving around. But not a tough fight. Especially with as usual with early enemies, the club does extra damage, so it helps. Anyway, note this giant here is holding an item. Also, what kind of a friggin' armorer casts spells like that? Seriously. There's another bonfire right over here, in case you miss it. Let's go back to my level up a bit. Alright, she's moved over here. We want to buy her heal. And we really should be... No, wait on that.
Thanks.
Now her stock of life gems is unlimited. We will want to come back to that fragrant branch, but we definitely don't need it this early on. Before we do that, dear, let's see, we have our spell now. Heal needs 12 face to use it, so we're going to
Bear,
to 12
seek the lest.
Just probably going to use most of our levels. Yeah, I'd use most of our souls to do that. And then we get a little bit extra health, our casting speed went up, and some of our resistances went up. But now, we can use the bonfire to attune our heal. And if we equip, and I will do that. What shall we? We shall. Just wondering about the weight. If you put it, I usually wear it in the offhand. Instead of having your shield, you do this. You tap your left button, it will cast a heal. Make note this has an area effect around it, basically in line with that circle you just saw. It's about equal to another SOTFS charge, but it's just slower. It's good if you want to prep up right before a boss fight, or if you're in the middle of exploring an area. It's basically 3 extra heals, and with the added bonus of if you have co-op partners with you, and they could use a heal, you can use that to just top them up. So we're going to be keeping this charm with us. Do keep in mind you can upgrade this with regular Titan over to Blacksmith, which isn't a bad idea. I'm probably going to get it to +3, although there will be better charms later. For now, that's it for the video. Thanks, guys.